All right, all right, all right. It's Friday. Thank goodness. Hey, do me a favor, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like, and let's just get all that out of the way. Um, hey, take a moment to think about the people over in Ukraine fighting their ass off to keep Russian forces back. Throughout the evening, they were doing okay to stop the military advance, but it seems like they're getting overwhelmed now, and you can understand it. I mean, it's a huge, huge military. But hey, big balls, man, big balls. I mean, they're calling for citizens to get Molotov cocktails. I mean, I don't think these people are going to go quietly. They are going to put up a fight. This is another Afghanistan for Russia, and it's a pity. Um, and I want everybody to know that I'll be pulling my Patreon account because Patreon stopped a not-for-profit organization from collecting funds, who have been collecting funds on Patreon since 2014 in small drips and drabs, and they've been sending the money to buy body armor and helmets and things like that to the Ukraine to help support them. And these are old Ukraine military that have relocated in the states and developed this not-for-profit. And after the Ukraine incident, after Putin um, attacked and invaded Ukraine, um, they received about $300,000 in donations, and they were trying to get that money to the Ukrainian government to buy body armor for their soldiers and their citizens, who ultimately are conscript into the army now, and they're fighting. And Patreon froze the account, and they said they're sending the money back to the donors. But I mean, how dare they take a political stance like that? I mean, this is an emergency. I mean, these people need this money. I mean, these are this is a democratic society, that's being overrun by communism and being enslaved. And this is what happens. And you know what? We stood by when this happened to Hong Kong, which, okay, it wasn't a country, it belonged to China, but China made a deal, man. They made a deal that they could govern themselves freely. China rolled back on that deal. They're going to do this to Taiwan. And what do? We sit back and we still cater to these companies that placate to this tyranny. Apple. Apple is the number one offender in my mind. Their products are built. Even Tesla. Yeah, I love Elon, but Tesla is placating to China because he wants that market. And I think it's time that the free world tells these companies and these corporations this isn't all right. It's not all right to sell our freedoms for your profits. And everybody who's buying this stuff is supporting this. You're supporting this concept. So now's the time to be a responsible consumer. You want to change the world? Stop going after the small bullshit and think about the people who are destroying the world. China is a number one polluter. U.S. is got its problems too, but you could put more checks in the pros column than the con column for the U.S. And Russia is a major polluter and destroyer of the environment. I mean, there's no good coming out of these two countries, and yet we support them. And we can't bank on our politicians because, we know Biden was in the pocket of the Ukraine. Okay, we're on the Ukraine side, but you know what? Biden was in the pocket of China. I mean, Biden Jr. was on the board of directors of the Chinese bank, which is state owned. I mean, so these people are being bought by communists. We can't count on them. But as consumers, that's what it's all about, right? The corporations want to make money. And when they find out they can't make money because we, as the free population of the world, decide that we're not spending our money on your company if you're participating in this, they're going to stop. They're going to pull back. And even China is going to rethink its position. Putin, he's a little fucking whacked. I mean, this guy just wants land. I mean, why he wants the Ukraine is ridiculous. The guy's got plenty of land mass. The idea that Europe didn't allow these guys into NATO is absurd because this is, as they call it, the breadbasket of Europe. This is where all the wheat comes from and grains, and they're losing that resource. So, I mean, the concept is ridiculous. But if you want to affect change, That's how you do it, man. Stop spending your money. Stop buying the fucking Apple iPhone because you want to be fashionable. Because people are dying. All right, children in China are working for $1 a day to make that shit, and that money is funneling into technology that suppresses people's freedoms, technology that tramples on the freedom of speech and human rights atrocities, and technology that's going to come into free Europe and free America and start changing shit, taking shit over. Yo, Poland is on the line now, man. And you've got Russia right on the border of European countries. Dude, I mean, we're a tantamount to a third world war. And we could all say it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But again, I'm going to tell you, one day I was walking to work and somebody dropped some fucking planes on my neighborhood. Literally, man. And I sat there and I watched my neighbors and my fellow New Yorkers jumping out of 80-story buildings on fire and plummeting to the ground. And so don't think that this can't happen. It can happen, and we're supporting it by buying these products. We're supporting it because all that's important to us is our flat TVs. The big screen. I've got to have that 65-inch. Fuck, I grew up with a 19-inch TV. I was fine watching it. Everybody's got to have a 65-inch TV now. And it doesn't matter what the price is. And it's not the monetary price, man. It's human life. It's freedom. It's civil liberties. It's privacy. All of this is at stake, and we keep feeding into it. All right. So that's my rant. It just breaks my heart. And I sent around a link through Twitter of people protesting the world, all around the world, protesting the war. And if this doesn't draw a tear to your eye, you're just a callous fuck. Anyway, yeah, this shit is getting to me. We need a little spirituality in the world. Okay, so let's take a look at the market, shall we? Enough of my rant. Okay, so I'm looking at the futures, at the S&P futures, and we're looking at the daily. And this is a pretty good bear flag, a bull flag on the daily, right? And you know what? If we consolidate right here, I would like that, and then maybe Monday break that flag, run to a high. So I'm watching for a bear flag building on the S&P. We got a whole day, man. So that bar is going to change. I mean, it may not. We may just consolidate around here, grind around here after yesterday's run up, which was pretty impressive. A little grind around here isn't a bad idea. The futures have pulled back a little bit. Well, no, they're right around here. A 37 point pullback on the S&P is going to be a little aggressive for a decent bull flag. But we'll watch this. The momentum is trending up. We're not really getting a turnaround of the fastest slow line. We sure can use it, but we'll watch that for the rest of the day. I'm a little flustered. I've been up since like 1 o'clock and watching this stuff and doing head trips. I need the weekend. So on the 240, we built a really nice bull flag. So you see this run up, and then here's the retracement. So a break of right now, 42.66 will be a trigger of the bull flag. So we could see that, up until the open, we may see that, and then a run up. So this retrace that we're looking at really is not a bad thing, a bad thing. So here we are on the daily for the S&P. We open up, say we open up down 30. We're talking about 58, and right where come on, we should open up right about there. That looks pretty good. If we open up right about there, even turn around, consolidate here for the day, then that would set up a nice flag. Otherwise, this is a good strong bar. Momentum looks like it's rolling around on the S&P. Yeah, you see that break of the high, take it. That's your long right there. We could very well visit the 43.45. It's looking good. If we do break that and continue up, then I mean, I don't like this little head and shoulders pattern on the momentum. I would have rather it rounded out, and that's what this is. It made a double top, but then again, that's a good solid resistance. I mean, if we can go up and test that and bust through that, we're going to start moving. Moving, moving, moving. And you know what? We're looking at the top Keltner line, and it's kind of up around there. It's making it a good target. It's making it a very, very good target right now. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged. And the futures are selling off in the European market, and the European is obviously taking a bigger beating than we are over this whole incident, and we're kind of insulated, really. If you think about it, we have like $6 trillion in corporate and home funds or personal funds floating around to go into our economy. We basically have a built-in stimulus package going on. Wage rates are rising quicker than interest rates right now, so that's pretty cool. And a lot of our industries are going to weather these interest rates, especially like housing. Um, right now, which is more tied to the labor market, which the labor market's strong, and which means people are going to be working, people will be going out, they'll be spending money, and that'll be cool for our economy. I don't think we have to worry about inflation fears. I think we're going to start seeing inflation taper off. I mean, obviously, oil's going to be a bitch. Some commodities are going to be a bitch, and that's going to make this linger a little bit. But I don't think that everybody's looking for this opening burst. This opening burst. I don't think it's going to happen. There's a sense of normality throughout the country. Everybody's out doing their thing. I mean, where I am, there's no pent up need to spend. Right now, people are out. They're at the restaurants, they're hanging out. The town's packed. The bars are packed. The pool hall's packed. You know, we're having a good time. New York is just loosening the springs, the strings. My wife's a practitioner, and you know, they're just starting, like they're still mandating that the healthcare workers get boosters and all of this shit, and now they're starting to postpone it and defer the deadlines and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, New York's starting to wake up a little bit. They're just slow in coming, and all the news you get is coming out of New York. If you watch the financial news, and yet you know you know, their asses are puckered, and you know, this is like a whole change of life. But the rest of the world, um, or the rest of the country, is relatively normal. Um, Even along the East Coast, you go away from the city or away from the you know, the land of liberals in taxes, and they're all very comfortable and relaxed and just dealing with this thing, and it's really not changing everybody's lives anymore. Um, so I digress. Um, so I think that everything's gonna lay out well, man. I like the idea of buying right here. I mean, we're still at risk. We could see those 3,800s. I see it. There's nothing in the pattern that says, nah, that shit's behind us. Yet, you know, we're still at the turning point. Like, can it go or does it turn around? You know what I'm saying? You're not seeing the traditional capitulation signals, but this is not a traditional situation either. I mean, you know, this is very different, and even the investing um, foundation is very different. The retail investor is very, very different from when they accumulated all of these telltale signs and things like that. So you know, you could look at that, but you have to keep an open mind and just kind of see what the price action is telling you, because dude, it's all about price action. In my view. All right, let's take a quick look at AMC, because I know that's a topic of interest, and it's pulling back in the pre-market, and that's nothing. I mean, you know, it's moving with the market basically, so it's not telling us anything. As far as a pattern, you could see the low here, right? We're looking at the daily chart. Here's the low here, and here's the low here, and here's the low on the momentum. Here's the low on the momentum. The momentum is pushing up. That's a divergence. The lows are kind of equal, which is very good. So the aggressive entry on the divergence would have been right here, which would have been yesterday when we broke this. But you can take the break of today. I mean, there's a very solid up move looking bar, and yet, you know, you could try to get involved with that. To be more conservative, you can wait for the break of this high. To be a little more conservative than getting in at this break, but a little more aggressive than this high. I have this trend, and that's where I would probably take the trade. I would probably take it right here. It'll probably push up, give another kiss, and then move on. If the momentum remains in it. As far as investing and long term and high flying, stay away from it. That's not what this is. I mean, even the business model doesn't make sense anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, they rent space to show movies that somebody else owns that we can do ourselves in our home. I mean, I think they're getting a bigger market of a bigger share of an ever shrinking market. So, I mean, yeah, but that's one man's opinion. And again, like I said yesterday, I mean, that's how you make money in the market. Some people are right, some people are wrong. And you're going to be wrong. Hopefully, you're wrong less than you're right, but with good risk management, you don't get hurt. That's it, man. Let's take a quick look at BTC. BTC. Um, hey, just understand too that America is considered a safe haven right now. So as far as our market goes, this is where the money's going to come, man. Europe is questionable right now. Obviously, China is very questionable right now because it depends on what shadow this is going to cast on them and how they're going to be viewed. And if we all become responsible consumers, right? China's going to get hurt, and then they're going to have to change their program and get in line and work towards the betterment of mankind instead of the betterment of the elite in China and their republic. Um, so so the U.S. is the safe haven, which lends a lot to be, or is a lot to be said for the direction of our market. All right, so here on the daily, I would have liked better if this hammer was right at the top, but yeah, we could argue that it's a poorly constructed hammer. You might even say a doji. I mean, the downward tail is a little longer than the upward. I really don't like. I'm not going to call it a hammer, but you might be able to take the trade. But a better trade is if you look at the 240 on it, an entry on the break of 38 835. That's a good move, and everything is right for the taking, man. The momentum is right. If you look at the histograms, right, the histogram, the bearish part of the histogram is tapering off, growing smaller, and the bullish part of the histogram is gaining strength and getting larger. The trend is correct. Here's the trend reversal. Here's a low. Momentum is very low. Here's another low. Momentum is considerably higher. This is considerably lower. A very obvious divergence. The aggressive entry would have been down here. But this is a move up, and that's what flags do. Flags provide an entry for a move up or a trend, and that's it right here. And it looks like it might have triggered. Think the high, yep, the 38.9. It just triggered, and it's trading off. So you could even get involved or wait for it to break again. You can get involved here. I would put my stop right at the low over here. I would have my stop right at 38.55. And that's it. That's my trade, which is not, it's not a bad trade, right? Did I read that right? My low is 38.055. Okay. So you got 500 points in it, five and a quarter exposure. But that's it, man. That's a trade right there in Bitcoin. And it's not an investment, it's a trading vehicle. And it's not a safe haven. And these are my opinions, take them for what they're worth. But again, I've been doing this since the early 90s. I waste more money than most people make. It's got to say something for my opinion, right? All righty. All righty, Aphrodite. Okay, that covers it, man. Again, I want to reiterate. First of all, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like. Be a responsible consumer. If you are buying these products that support these tyrannical government regimes, then you're just as guilty as the guy pulling the trigger in this battle. All right. And you know what? I'm guilty of it. And I'm actually taking stock in myself and saying, okay, what am I buying that's contributing to the shit? And you know what? It's hard to cut the ties. I mean, you got China and everything. So I'm going to do the best I can to inhibit the spending in those countries, and hopefully corporations will start feeling it and seeing it, and they'll stop doing it. I mean, why can't we go down to South and Central America? You know, I mean, they need work. They have labor. Let's get down there. Let's educate them and get some technology down there. And let's build half the world. Or three-quarters of the world that just see it our way, where ultimately we all live in peace and we work towards the betterment of our species, of humanity. Wouldn't that be swell? A clean environment, safe countries, people are well fed and well medicated. Yeah, that's funny. Well, you come to America. We're well medicated, or at least have good health care, right? You want to be well fed, have good health care, and educate people. And why isn't that our focus? You know what I'm saying? Why these land grabs, or this selfishness, or this greed, this bullshit from Russia, where their people are slaves, man? They're enslaved, and they don't know it because they're pumped propaganda from their country. We're enslaved by our greed here in the States, and we know it because we have freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and we'll evolve, man. We'll become better people, and eventually monetary things won't be that important to us, and it'll be more about filling our soul and being spiritual, and filling our minds and our heads, and the better things in life, like art and music and poetry and all that shit. So anyway, I'll rant and rant and rant. Let me stop this. So everybody, yo, get your meditation in. I did one this morning. I'm obviously charged up. I'm gonna have to do it again before the market opens. Calm myself down and be cool. I'm due for a meditation when I'm cursing and ranting and things like that. So that's it, man. Calm, cool, be at peace when you trade. We're looking for the market to pull back a little bit. We'd like to see the flag. We want to see everything hold, the lows hold, and move forward on this thing. Later.